Have to ring the bell again.
Yeah, I know.
How is everyone today? Paul Irving, come on. Oh,
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to introduce you to David Wilkinson from Durham, England. He's the, I would call it dean, but I think you call it principal of Durham University's St. John's College. It's one of the 8 universities there. He is building right now, in addition to the library that's adjacent to the chapel, which is 11th century.
Oh, wow.
And I think I know Harry Potter 1 and 2 are there. All these fun things, but he's a wonderful theologian as well as an astrophysicist. He spoke 7 times in Charlotte this weekend. We just came back from San Diego where he spoke 2 times on Wednesday. And he'll be speaking tonight at Western Carolina and at Long's Chapel this weekend. But he still has a voice. And I've asked him to have prayer for us. David?
Well, let me bring you greetings from the other side of the pond. I owe a great deal to Rotary, so it's nice to be part of this meeting. Thank you for hospitality. Let us pray. Lord, in this week of the eclipse, we thank you for the beauty of the universe. But we also pray that in the freedom of the universe we might respond well, and so we pray for sisters and brothers in the path of the hurricane, praying that there would be protection and rescue. In a week of political turmoil, we pray for those called to be politicians and those called to be in the media. We pray for them and thank you for their service. And indeed, Lord, we would pray that as you enrich our fellowship together here in this place, we thank you for one another and pray that we might live a life which is service above self. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much for that. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And the thing we do, the things we think, say, or do, is it the
truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
I was pledging to that. Can you believe that? That's pretty good. Well, we got a pretty good group here today. Look at this. There's almost no seats left. I mean, how wonderful that is. Do we have any guests over here to my left? Left center? Anybody over here to the guests? No guests? Down the middle, any guests? Guests over here? Stand up. Who we have?
John Patterson. I'm in the Silva Club.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm here with Ken today.
Very good. Thank you, sir, for coming. Any guests to my right? Except, we'll get to you. All right. Cecil.
We also have Rex Taylor visiting Rotary with us today. Rex, good to have you back.
Thanks for coming, Rex.
And I know you'll introduce our other visiting Rotary, so I'll stay out of that.
Thank you.
Open door makeups yesterday were Paul Limbo, Bob Herman, Marcel Neal, Larry Leatherwood, Larry East, Mike McClain, Tiffany Watts, Susan DeFore, Edward Fontaine, Dean Bunch, and Mark Bumgarner. Let's give them all a round.
Thank you, Cecil. Nothing else. Huh? We have started today the raffle, the 50-50 split raffle today. I've got some tickets up here. Anybody need anybody that hasn't bought a ticket? How many do you want, ma'am?
How much are they?
They're $1 a piece, or 5 for $5. 6 for $5. You want a couple tickets? You want one too?
Yeah. 6.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, I figured that out myself, yeah.
Because we're ready to pick it. We're going to have our guest pick. All right. You want 6? You want to split out?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, dear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. You want $5 for it?
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
This is yours. Anybody else? Good? Now once, twice, three. Let's do like, we're gonna got a great speaker today, so we don't wanna spend too much time. We have, no. What do you got there? That's yours. That's yours. Don't you have?
That's mine.
Wait, let's give her those. No. That's hers. It says keep. Those are hers. This is mine. I got it.
He's got it, Jeff.
I got it. You'd think this would be easy. Good Lord. Yeah, we'll have those tickets. Give it up. All right.
It's tough.
Yes.
It's tough.
No. Alrighty. What we're doing is again, this is the 50-50 split for the foundation. We're trying to float the foundation a little bit instead of borrowing every day from the foundation. So we're just adding a little bit here and there to help it. I gotta make sure I'm not putting any tickets in between the bills here, or it wouldn't be fair. I think we're all right. And we have a lovely guest with us today that I'm going to have us pick the tickets. All right. Make sure. Oh, there's change down in the bottom. No, don't pick up the change because we know who gave us the change. All right. Here we go. Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
All right. Tickets ready? Ready. Here we go. Last digits are 273. 273.
It's me.
Did I just tell you anything? 273. Very good. All right.
Ed tore them apart.
I have no clue how much is here.
Well, you just need to keep it for the foundation.
Oh! Thank you very much.
But let me know how much.
I'll let you know. I will let you know. About $20. Thank you.
That's right off taxes.
All right, sign-up sheets for community service. As usual, we have the sign-up sheets in the back for the open door. And remember that we are now going quarterly with the housing for the Habitat for Humanity. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right, Terry? Okay, so we'll be doing that in October?
October 19th.
October 19th will be our round for helping out the Habitat. And that is all for the sign-ups at the moment. Bob Herman, anything going on?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Larry Leatherwood.
Contrary to what the bulletin says, it's the United Way Day of Caring. It's not the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce Day of Caring. Coming up, September 7th is the Day of Caring. Rick and I went down and visited the site the other day, and we're going to have to take 2 days to do the site, one to tear up and one to put back. So we're going to work on Wednesday, September the 6th, and Thursday, September the 7th. The site is in Canton, so if you let me know if you can help, I've already got one or two that have indicated that they can help, and which day, then I will get the information to those of you who are interested in helping. If you can only help half a day, that's good. An hour or two, that's good. But we'll need some hands to get this done. It's not going to be hard work. We've got to take out the old underpinning on the trailer and then go back and reestablish the underpinning. So that's the reason we're going to take 2 days, one to tear it out and one to put it back. So please let me know if you can help. You can let me know today, or you can let me know, no, you can't let me know next Friday. You'll have to call me because I won't be here next Friday. But it's September the 6th on Wednesday, September the 7th on Thursday.
What time?
9 o'clock, so we don't bother the neighborhood. Susan?
September 7th in the morning.
Thank you.
2 p.m.
All right, thanks.
Larry, where are you going to meet? Any idea?
We'll meet in, probably Ingles parking lot in Candy,
Very
right
good.
there, at the lower end, close to, not, opposite the gas pumps.
Okay. Ingalls
Close
in
to Taco
Canton.
Bell, how's that?
Very good. All right, and now, Tom Napko.
Thank you, President Rick. For the last few weeks, we have been asking and soliciting your money for the upcoming Christmas food basket program. We've got probably over 100 baskets donated already. When you send me an email with your contribution, I always respond to it. And those of you who are not electronically connected, we do have the sign-up sheet in the back. Cost of a basket is $31. It feeds a family of 4. We're expecting in excess of 500 families to feed. Besides our club's contribution, we're also using the contribution from the other clubs in the county. So your contributions are greatly appreciated. These donations will be billed to you in your October bill and not your December bill. So thank you for your generosity.
Thanks, Tom. It is one of our best and greatest give backs to the community. Bill Owen, where you at? Oh, there he
I'm
is.
here, thank you. I was going to stand to say that we had an opening for this coming month of September for the Manna backpack delivery, but Roy Robertson has volunteered to take this coming month of September at Hazelwood School, but he also signed up for 2 more months. So I'm in pretty good shape right now, but if someone wants to take a month and deliver food, we're going to begin this coming September the 8th, and it'll be every Friday that we have school. We'll pick up food at the Clyde Elementary School and then deliver to about 14 locations. Let me know if you want to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Are you going to have a sign-up sheet where they can sign up at the back, or? Okay.
I'll be here.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your help. Remember, the cart buckets are on the table. We're going to start nickel and diming you, as they say, for everything, so be prepared, please. Let's see, Buffy. Buffy's not here, is she? Okay. The welcome table is going to be, remind me, is it the second Wednesday or the first Wednesday? Anybody remember?
It's third.
It's the third Wednesday. Thanks, Patsy. The third Wednesday at Buccelli's, I think, again. It's a great meeting. It's a good make-up time, and it's just a good fellowship together for a good lunch. It truly is. Important dates. Tomorrow, the 26th, is the Rotary Grant Management Seminar at AB Tech, along with the public image program that they're doing there also. Billy Case and myself are going to be going. Anyone can go. It's always welcome. It is for a few hours in the morning, and then we're out in the early afternoon. Also, as Larry had just said, make sure September 6th and 7th are on your calendar for the Day of Caring. The YouTube channel is still coming along. I have not uploaded any new movies yet, or any former meetings yet. We'll get them there probably this coming week. I'll have 2 more to go up there, plus this one, hopefully, and for your makeups. Let's see. Is there a Hannah McLean in here? Come on up. We are pleased to announce that Hannah McLean has chosen our Rotary Club, for becoming a member. You were a transfer, that's correct, from Bartow County Rotary Club. Where's Bartow County?
Cartersville, Georgia.
Cartersville, Georgia. Well, there you go.
Marietta.
Very good. And how long have you been a member there?
3 or 4 years. So I was on the board for 3, so I've been a member for 4.
Okay. Were you in line for presidency or anything like that?
I was dodging that.
Well, anyway, we are pleased to announce that we're going to induct you into our club. And what I'm going to do for you is give you a new membership kit. I don't know if you've ever received one of those or not. There's lots of good stuff in there to read about and everything like that. So what you do is hang around, please, after the meeting, if you can, if you have some time. The back door, let everybody meet you and greet you. And welcome to our club.
Thank you.
some lovely ladies entering our club. That's great. 3 in a row. This is wonderful. The girls are back. Wonderful. All right. That looks like the end of the information that I've got. And did I miss anybody that wants to speak about anything? Yes, sir, Ed.
I just wanted to give you a quick update. 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned that my son-in-law was going to have surgery for a brain tumor. The surgery took place last Friday. He came out of surgery at 7:30 in the evening. The surgery went very, very well. And in fact, his recovery was sufficient that on Sunday, just before noon, he was discharged and came home. I mean, this is despite going about 3 inches into the brain with the tumor. But thank you for your prayers and concern, and please, as you have the opportunity, lift him up again, because we're waiting on pathology reports. But we are hopeful that that's going to be positive as well. But I just wanted to let you know that Shannon is doing well. He's at home and will be another week's worth of convalescence, and then they think he can go back to work part-time. Yeah, medicine's wonderful. I guess they kick you out of the hospital because that's for sick people. So, but thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Continued prayers, Ed, really. Steve.
My wife and I went to Alaska for about 9 days last week.
Wow.
And by chance, I ran into my best friend from Fort Polk, Louisiana, 48 years ago. Basic training.
Isn't that something?
Alaska. He asked me how I remembered his name. I said, "You're the only guy I knew from Alaska."
Well, there you go.
He went on to flight school and flew a helicopter in Vietnam and spent 5 years in the Army Rotary wing, and came out, and now he's a super district supervisor for the FAA, and he goes into these rural places in Canada that has airplanes and no roads, and gives them flight checks. And he said there's a small village up there that he went to one time. They had 13 airplanes sitting in that village. Nobody had a pilot's license.
At least in Alaska, the general aviation is a little sparse. So that's how you're going to hit a mountain before you get another plane. So that's at least that's the thing. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Wells, please.
I just want everybody to keep the C family in your prayers. Many of y'all will remember Ray C, that was a member of this club for many years. His wife passed away earlier this week. Our service is tomorrow morning at 11, but just a great family of Haywood County here. Quick story on Ray, if y'all remember him, he was a long-time member here, but anytime you'd see Ray, he'd say, "Hey, ugly, when you gonna pay me that 20 you owe me?"
Thank you for that news. Thank you, Wells. Once, twice. Very good. Fred Waring.
What?
You're on.
I think you're on for the moment.
Oh, good.
An introduction is well deserved, I'm sure.
I guess I'm up here to introduce our guest speaker, Tiffany Irvin. I don't really know much about her other than the fact that she's Miss Rotarian. She does everything Rotary. I think she's been in every office in Rotary District except governor, and that's 2 years from now. So she's going to speak to us today about Miss America, college football, and Rotary, what they have in common. So Tiffany, would you like to come up?
So much. It is always so much fun to be here, and I had forgotten how long it had been since I have visited here, but it's so nice to see so many familiar faces, and it's always fun to come and share my Rotary story, so I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I know Rick mentioned the public image seminar and the grants management seminar tomorrow. My last call and plea for people who would like to sit in on the public image seminar, I'll be leading part of that. So it's great for anyone who's interested in learning more about social media or websites or bulletins, or and even we'll touch on membership a little bit too. So if you get a chance. And I was asking earlier, I was talking to Ron, I believe is your president-elect. Is that right? Yes. And so I said, well, gosh, who's going to be following you? And he and Rick said, we haven't really figured that out yet. I said, you know, that's going to be the year that I'm governor. So we have to find someone who can put up with me for a year. So good luck with that, guys. I hope that goes well for you. But I always love coming and sharing my story because, you see, I look at Rotary a little bit differently than most people, because I don't believe that everybody deserves to be in Rotary. So I always find it fun and entertaining to share my story. I travel and speak to probably 50, 60, 75 Rotary clubs and districts and pets and conferences every year all over the country. And it's always nice to share stories that I learn and meet new friends. But I learn a lot from seeing how different clubs do different things. I always like to share that, because what I've learned more than anything else is that there are no Rotary police. They let us do a little bit of whatever we feel works in our community, and that's really a good thing. So I thought that in order to tell you where I am today, I am truly a Rotary geek, as my website says, and as everyone around the world seems to call me, the Rotary geek. I thought that it would be worthwhile for you to know where I came from. So I'm going to share with you, first off, a couple of quick little stories, 3 things that really influenced me growing up. And the first of which I have mentioned to a few people in lunch line earlier, but I am what they affectionately call a PK. You guys know what that is, right? A preacher's kid, yes. And see, when you answer it that fast, you make me nervous, because that means that you have these preconceived ideas about us preacher's kids, and you believe that we're the ones that got your kids in trouble when they were growing up, but that really isn't true. The reality is people are always watching and expecting you to be perfect, and I wasn't then, and I'm certainly not now. But the good news is that I learned a lot of really valuable lessons as a preacher's kid growing up also. My daddy was the guy that, and to this day, he, as a retired minister, he just turned 80, and he's the guy that'll pull over on the side of the road and help someone who's broken down without hesitation, because that's the right thing to do. So I really believe that I learned that spirit of giving growing up from watching him. But how many of you grew up in churches that have church league softball or church league basketball? Y'all grew up with that, right? We did too in small towns. But I never got to play. My brother and sister were 10 and 12 years older than me. And so they always played softball or basketball with my mom and dad, but I just usually played in the dirt because I was a little thing. But I can remember one night we were late getting to a softball game. We got there and we walked up to the dugout. My daddy had a meeting, so we were late getting there. And my daddy walks up to the dugout and he says, "Hey, Dennis, how we doing?" Dennis says, "Preacher, we're down 16-0. My daddy says, "Oh, it's going to be a long night, isn't it?" He said, "It's okay, preacher. Don't worry. We hadn't batted yet." So, you know, that was one of those really valuable lessons when I was growing up. No matter what I was going through, my daddy would say, "Hang in there, baby. It's going to be okay. You just hadn't batted yet." And, you know, sometimes he still has to say that to me, even today as an adult. But it was a really valuable lesson, and I really think that that was part of the inspiration for me becoming this Rotary geek, and I didn't even realize it at the time. Now, the second thing that influenced me growing up, listen, you want to talk about having thick skin? I was also a pageant girl. Okay, so I grew up in the Miss America organization. I was not one of those toddlers and tiaras, don't misunderstand. But I did grow up competing in the Miss America organization, and I've heard all those misconceptions too. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I've heard the one about the girl in Interview. She was asked, "What is your opinion of euthanasia?" And she said, "I believe they should have the same rights as youth in America." You know, so I've heard all those stories. You really can't hurt my feelings, because the reality is that was a great experience for me as well. Growing up in the Miss America organization, you learn the value of community service and giving back. You also develop your public speaking skills, your interviewing skills, poise and posture, and how to develop your talent. Someone asked me earlier about my talent, and I'll tell you, this is a little interesting piece of trivia for you. I won talent in the Miss South Carolina pageant, playing dueling banjos on the flute. Right? Think about that for a minute. It's on YouTube. If you want to see it, it's on my YouTube channel. But it was a great opportunity for me to learn the value of giving back to my community. And also, I earned enough scholarship to pay for my college education at the University of South Carolina, where I majored in broadcasting. So really, the third thing that influenced me growing up was that I was a huge sports fan. Now, it probably doesn't have anything to do with me being a Rotary geek, but it certainly influenced the person that I've become as an adult. I grew up watching television with my Uncle Tillman and my dad back in the days when we didn't have the worldwide leader of sports, right? All we had was WGN and TBS. So I grew up watching the Cubs and the Braves back then. And I became always watching my Gamecocks with my daddy. Loved my sports. Went to the University of South Carolina. And to this day, I travel with my own personal Rotary cocky. He travels around with me, and I sometimes I leave him in the car, and I'll walk into a club or a district. I was in Eastern North Carolina about 2 weeks ago, about 5-6 hours from here, and I walk in, and they said, "Where's that bird?" I said, "Oh, well, let me go back to the car and get him." So people do ask about Rotary Cocky now. He travels with me everywhere. It's a gimmick. I get it. But when you travel as much as I do alone, it's a gimmick, and it's someone to talk to, and he doesn't talk back. So it's really not such a bad thing. But I love sports. I became a TV and radio host as an adult, and even got the opportunity to work as a sideline reporter for high school and college sports for many years. So I saw the SoCon chart. I understand you guys are college officials. We'll talk about that afterwards. Here's an interesting thing for you. You guys were talking about your YouTube channel. If you like to watch funny videos on YouTube, and who doesn't, right? Just type in the search engine, Tiffany Irvin, hit by player. Yeah, it went viral the next day after I got hit by a very large running back who was committed to Louisville at the time, and I went flying through the air. My friends all say my hair looked really pretty as I was flying through the air, but I was lucky that I didn't get hurt. But it's a great story to tell, and it's one of those things that I'm kind of known for now. That and my shoes. For some reason, I'm known for my shoes as well. But you know, all of these things influenced who I am and who I've become, and I really believe that I am this Rotary geek because I look at Rotary a little bit differently than most people. And I think that you guys will appreciate this story because you are people of action. I heard all of these opportunities for signing up for volunteering as you were going through your announcements, and I applaud you for that. That is amazing. And thank you for giving back your 50-50 money to your foundation. That you are people of action, and that's what Rotary is all about. I had a friend who was moving from Fort Lauderdale to Hendersonville, where I live now, and she was going to transfer to a new club from Fort Lauderdale. So she visited my club, which is the Four Seasons Club. We're a breakfast club. And she visited the Noon Club, and she said to me afterwards, "Tiffany, I don't want you to be mad at me, but I've decided to join the other club instead." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm just really glad that you're staying in Rotary." I said, "But do you mind if I ask why?" Because, you know, too often we don't ask, right? We don't ask people why they leave or why they didn't join or why they were unhappy. And so it's really valuable lessons you can learn sometimes from that question. And she looked at me, she said, "Oh yeah, it's really easy. There's a lot more chances for me to network in that bigger club." I said, "You join in the right club." Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to network, join the Chamber of Commerce. That's why they're here. But we are a service organization. We are a service organization made of business-minded people. And I don't know about you, but that makes me really proud to be a Rotarian. I wear my pin every single day. Now, Fred said to me when I walked in this morning, he goes, "I didn't mean for you to imply that this was a formal event. You wore your sequins." Listen, sequins are my Prozac. I wear sequins every single day. I have rhinestone pins and lots of bling because that's who I am. And so I wear my rhinestone Rotary pins. I wear pins everywhere I go because I'm proud to be a Rotarian. I was speaking to a Rotary Club in Anchorage, Alaska a couple of years ago, and they still fine you for things, as a lot of clubs do. And so at the beginning of the big, large room full of people, and they say, "Raise your hand if you're wearing your Rotary pin today." 75% of the room, their hands went up. It was a great thing to see. But they fine you if you're not. So when I got up to speak, I thanked them for wearing their Rotary pins. I said, "Do me a favor, raise your hand again if you're wearing your Rotary pin today." 75% of the room, their hands go up. And I said, "Now do me a favor and keep your hand up if you wear it every day." And their hands started coming down. And I asked them the same question I ask you. Are you only a Rotarian on Friday at lunch? Are you proud to be a Rotarian? Because you know what that Rotary pin says about you? It says that you are a person with a heart for service. It says that you are people of action who want to make a difference in this world. maybe to strangers that you may never meet on the other side of the globe. It means that you live, work, and breathe by the four-way test. Isn't that the kind of people you want to do business with as well? I have a copy of the four-way test hanging in my store, in my office of the store that I own, because I want people to know that's how I do business, and I know you do too. So be proud to be a Rotarian. Wear your pin every single day. You are a billboard for Rotary. So I started thinking about, well, what is it that Rotary has in common with my background with the Miss America organization and my background with college football? And I realized that not everyone deserves to be a Rotarian, but those that do have worked their entire lives giving back to their community, having high ethical standards, being people of action. And the same is true with Miss America. You know, not every young woman who competes for the title of Miss America deserves to be Miss America. If they did, I'd have won it 3 times. I'm just saying that I did everything you could do, and I still didn't win. But not every young man who plays high school or college football deserves to win the Heisman Trophy or get a college scholarship or be drafted in the NFL. But those that do have worked their entire lives for that opportunity. Their blood, sweat, tears, their weekends, their summer vacations, their spring breaks. Listen, my boyfriend's a football coach, so I don't see him very much this time of year. That's their life. And this is ours, is a heart for service. So I encourage you to think about those people that you know that have a heart for service, that deserve to be Rotarians, and invite them. Don't invite them to a meeting. Don't you all go to enough meetings during the week already? Invite them to lunch. You guys have an amazing lunch. I'll come back anytime. And you have this view. What else could you ask for? Just tell them to come just to see the view. Or invite them on one of your projects, Today of Caring, or packing backpacks, or giving out dictionaries. Because that's what it's all about. We are a service organization. You know, people tell me all the time, yeah, but Tiffany, if we had 5 of you in our club, we'd be in good shape because we'd be doing membership and fundraising and social media. Listen, if you had 5 of me, you'd want a straitjacket because I'm like this all the time. I never slow down. I had caffeine, so watch out. You guys are in trouble now. You don't need 5 of me. You just need 1. You need 1 person who's passionate about putting a backpack home with a child so they can eat over a weekend. You need 1 person who's passionate about putting a dictionary in the hand of every 3rd grader. Or 1 person who's passionate about a college scholarship so the child can get an education. Or 1 person who's passionate about clean water. Or 1 person who's passionate about the Rotary Foundation. Or 1 person who's passionate about eradicating polio from the face of the planet. You know, we've been saying that we're this close to eradicating that disease, and now we say we are counting down to 0. I have my pinky painted purple for Polio Plus at all times. I always like to say I'm giving polio the finger. I'm sure that Rotary International wishes I would stop saying that, but it's true. You know, do you guys know the story of why fingers are purple? In those countries when they're giving the vaccination for polio, they paint a child's pinky finger purple to show that that child has had the vaccine. And so many people in the Rotary world, geeks like myself probably, we paint our pinkies purple as a symbol, just so that when people ask me, why is your fingernail painted purple? I can tell them all about Rotary and all about polio and how we, as Rotarians, are changing the world and we are eradicating this disease. So you see, you just need 1 person who's passionate about that, because here's what I've learned. We all have different skills and talents, and we all have different passions, right? So my advice to you is to find your passion and make it your purpose. You see, many years ago, I had an opportunity. I was in Rotary for a long time, but Rotary wasn't in me. But I had an opportunity to go on a service trip with past Governor Frank Dean, and I know many of you know him from Marion. He is outstanding, right? And I had an opportunity to go with him on a trip to deliver wheelchairs to people in Medellin, Colombia, who had spina bifida. And my mother was born with spina bifida, so I knew just enough about it to probably be dangerous, but enough to be interested and wonder if that was where my passion was going to be. So I saved my money and I went on this trip. And that's when everything changed for me. Because I saw a mother pick up her child off of a dirt floor and put him in a wheelchair and give him mobility and independence and freedom for the very first time in his life. And that's when everything changed for me. Because then I was no longer in Rotary, but Rotary was in me. And that's when everything changed. So I really thought that wheelchairs were going to be my passion. I know you guys just had Governor Bill here last week, and he is also very passionate about wheelchairs, and he's been on several trips like I have. But you see, I didn't know at the time that a few years later, my mother, who was my very best friend in the whole world, was going to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I didn't know if you'd asked me then that today she wouldn't know who I am anymore, that she doesn't recognize me. Sometimes she thinks I'm in high school, so I decided that makes me look pretty young, and I think you have to take wins wherever you can get them, right? But she doesn't even know who I am anymore. And so now I'm very passionate about CART. I'm committed to helping us find a cure for this horrible disease. I spent all day Wednesday in Charlotte at an executive committee planning session with the CART Fund Board. And I can't wait for you guys to see the things that they're going to be doing in the next few years. This organization is growing by leaps and bounds, and I couldn't be more proud of that, because still to this day, 100% of every coin that goes in that bucket, and dollar bills as well, goes to research. $700,000 we gave away this year for research to help find a cure. We did that because we are Rotary. So I encourage you to find your passion and make it your purpose. You see, we all have different skills and talents and passions. And I'm not one of those people that can write a big check to the Rotary Foundation. I did not win the Powerball. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'd be collecting somewhere. But you know what? I can't write the big check. Some people can, and I'm really grateful to those people. I always love seeing new members come in. I love seeing new major donors or new Paul Harris plus whatever, because I appreciate people who can write those checks to Rotary. I give my $30 a quarter because it's the right thing to do, because the Rotary Foundation is my foundation. It is my charity, and it is so well respected around the world, and I'm so grateful for that. But what I can do is talk for a living, apparently, and so that's how I give back. I'm a professional keynote speaker and spokesperson for TV commercials and public events and special events and fundraising and public image and social media and all of those things. But I waive all of my fees when I do anything Rotary related, because it's the right thing to do. And so that's how I'm able to give back. Now, I still have to pay my mortgage. So if y'all know anybody that needs a commercial or a keynote speaker, y'all please give me a call. But this is what I can do to give back, because what I've learned is that who we are is what we do with what we have. Who we are is what we do with what we have, and we all have something different to offer. So I encourage you to think about that. What do you have to offer and bring to the table? Some of you will say to me, Tiffany, I've been in Rotary 40 years, been there, done that, I don't need to do it anymore. Okay, mentor someone else and let them be the next generation of givers. Teach them what it means to be an active member of Rotary, a giver of your community, one of those people of action that we talk about. So think about those people. Invite them here. We are the world's best kept secret. I was speaking at a club one time, and they do like we all do. They stand up, they pray, they pledge, they sing, they sit down, and they shake those buckets really, really loud. It sounded so good. But they had a lot of guests in the audience that day. So when I got up to speak, I asked one of the guests what he was thinking of the meeting. Now, I have to tell you, the first thing he said was, I can't believe how many of my friends are members here, and I didn't even know it. So we got to remember that. But the second thing I said, what was all that money shaking around in those buckets? He said, I have no idea. We didn't tell him. We're the world's best kept secret. But don't you think, if every person who visited you found out that we are counting down to zero, that we, Rotary, are going to eradicate polio from the face of the planet? Or what if we told every person here that we are going to find a cure for Alzheimer's? Why wouldn't they want to join us, right? Because that's what we do. I was in Cary, North Carolina last May during the flooding in West Virginia. You guys remember when all of that happened. And it was a zone meeting, so there were Rotarians from all over the East Coast, and the district governor from West Virginia was there with us as that was happening. And he put a lady on the phone, on the microphone, so that we could hear her, as she was struggling to talk through her tears, telling us about the lives that were lost and the homes that were destroyed and the cities that were completely wiped out, and all of the work it was going to take for many, many years to recover. And so he stood up before that room full of 150 people that night and said, we're going to pass around a hat and collect some money. If you have anything you can give. He said, if everybody in the room tonight gave $100, we'd raise $15,000 for the flood relief. And so they passed the hat around, and the next morning, Governor John got up and thanked everyone for their donations. And he said, guys, we didn't raise $15,000. We raised $40,000. And guys, I still get cold chills when I think about that. But you know why? Because we are Rotary. Did you know that disaster relief is not one of the 6 areas of focus of Rotary? But yet, look what we did. We saw a need for people that we didn't know and may never meet. And we answered that call because we are Rotary. That's what we do. And your club does the exact same thing. And I have stories like that from all over the country of clubs that I meet. People that tell me amazing stories of things that they've accomplished. And I could go on for hours and hours, but I know we're going to adjourn here in a few minutes, so I'm not going to do that. But I want to share with you one more quick story that I want us to change our vocabulary in Rotary. For years and years, we've talked about recruiting new members, right? Well, it sounds like I joined the Army, and I have the utmost respect for people who are in the armed services, but these shoes would never cut it, right? I am too much of a wimp. I could not do it. And so I want us to stop talking about recruiting new members to Rotary, and I want us to think about attracting new members. Is your club attractive to outsiders? I visited a club I was speaking at the Coast in South Carolina last September, and they still have a head table, as many clubs do around the country. And they invited me to go through the lunch line and get my food, and they showed me where my seat was at the head table. It was one of 6 chairs. So I got my meal, I sat down at the table, and for the entire time, not one person ever sat down at the head table with me.
Oh.
I was there by myself. Now, luckily it's me and I can talk to a tree, you know. But I started thinking, what if that had been a visitor who had never been to Rotary before? Would they have ever wanted to come back? So we got to think about those things. Are we attractive to outsiders? And the other thing is we talk about retaining our members. And I want to change that word too. And instead of talking about recruitment and retention, I want to talk about attraction and engagement. And you guys are the epitome of engaged Rotarians, because you are active and involved in so many projects. And I commend you and applaud you for that, and thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that's what it's all about. And so in my club, we don't talk about perfect attendance anymore. We talk about perfect engagement. If you can show up on Thursday, September the 7th or 8th, those 2 days, and work for United Way, for Day of Caring, that is an attendance. If you can deliver backpacks on Friday, if you can, in my club, if you can show up on Saturday morning and volunteer at Special Needs Baseball, that is an attendance, and that's what it's all about. So I encourage you to think about that. When someone says to you, I can't be there for lunch every Friday, don't go, okay, that's all right. Say, that's okay. You don't have to be. We can make it work for you, because they might have a passion that someone else in this club doesn't already have, and they might open up all kinds of opportunities for you to volunteer. So I thank you for what you do. I thank you for your donations to the Rotary Foundation. I thank you for your extension of membership to new people. I thank you for sharing your story. You guys have such a great social media page and your bulletin and all of that, because you are one of 33,000 clubs around the world, and you are one of 1.2 million people around the world, people of action who are making a difference. And we can't do it alone, but together, just look at what all we can accomplish. So remember, if you remember nothing else today, remember to find your passion and make it your purpose. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to share my story.
Thank you. I got one question. Stay right here.
Okay.
We heard in the grapevine that your past fundraiser is 0K.
Yes,
Can you talk to us for just a moment about that?
Absolutely, I'll be happy to. So I'm always in the car by myself. I'm always thinking of new ideas. And my club, bless their hearts, when I call and go, hey, I got this great idea. They go, oh, great, now what? So my club, everybody does a 5K, an 8K, a 10K. So this year, we decided to do a fundraiser solely for the CART Fund, and we did a 0K. It's all the fun without the run. And so we had it on a Saturday out at Oscar Blues Reed Ranch. Basically, you pay to show up, you eat, you drink, and you don't have to run. It is the best fundraiser ever. And we had the stickers printed up that say 0.0. I've got one on my car out there. We had warm-ups beforehand. Everyone had their beverages in their hand. They were warming up before the race began. We had a start-finish line. We had an official starter who blew the horn. And at that point, everyone raced to the buffet line. And it was a great day. We had a band. We listened to music. We ate and drank all afternoon, and we raised some good money for the CART Fund. So it's a lot of fun. Happy to share that idea or any others that I do or that I've heard about around the country, because I think it's all about attracting people that had never heard of the CART Fund. I did a Spotlight Carolina on it, so I was able to get some publicity out there. We had people come from Asheville and up farther north even that had never heard of the CART Fund, and certainly didn't know who the Four Seasons Rotary Club was. So it was a great idea for us to increase funds and awareness at the same time, because sometimes those are equally important.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely, thanks.
Thank you very much. That's a great idea. Sounds like a lot of fun, huh? Because I think we all could use a good 0K run. Huh? I think so. Let's see. Next week, regular meeting here, regular time. Any other good news for Rotary? Anything else we missed? Any other questions? Very good. If there's nothing else for Rotary, we're adjourned.
Well,